5 minutes to finish. It's like, crap! And so it's like hurrying and, it's getting everything done. So
that's not good.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But I'm okay with it. All right. So we're live, gentlemen.
Woohoo.
Woohoo. Now, I'm going to say welcome to another episode of Talking Clones. I, Thaddeus, from Going Nerdy, am joined by two of my favorite people. Above me, you have Paul from the Escape Podcast and Nev from the Escape Podcast. Now, Nev is the one below me because Nev loves to be on the bottom. He just enjoys it the most, I think. And so today we are going to be talking about unfinished business. Okay, this is season 7, episode 4, and I've just gotta say I'm kind of shocked that this wasn't that this didn't involve Ahsoka, right? The fact that this story arc continued bugged me when it started. Thoughts? I mean,
well, yeah, I can honestly see that. But this was the first of the ones that we did not know about from previous storyboarding and special extra releases of Clone Wars DVDs and things like that.
True.
So I could totally see where you're going, okay, we get more Bad Batch. But there was obviously something not finished with them. Something not finished with this arc, and it needed to be.
No, and I'll admit,
needed a conclusion.
I agree, and we have. What's interesting is we do see a lot of the bits from the previous releases. So, like the previous commercials and trailers and teasers, a lot of that takes place within this episode. So we saw Mace Windu in action, which was awesome. We saw Anakin and Obi-Wan. We saw like the whole crew in action. I won't bash the episode, but I was a little shocked by it. Now, it starts off, right? You see Echo driving in. You hear the voiceover like, hey, nothing we've done, we've still got all these problems. We need a big solution. And up walks Echo. And he's like, I got this. Right. and justifiably everyone's like, whoa, buddy. You just got out of a back tank for years. Not only are we a little worried about your mental state, a lot of the other clones of the Bad Batch are like, we don't know if we can trust him. Right?
Well, that was something that confused me about the episode.
Okay, why?
Well, you've got Mace Windu and you've got Anakin Skywalker. Any, and I do mean any, deception or thought of treachery coming from Echo would have been instantly sensed by them. Echo is not a dark Lord of the Sith capable of hiding his emotions.
No, but he could have easily been a plant, right? And his mentality could have been changed so that, he I don't know, like a lot could have changed or taken place where Echo could have felt that. Now, we don't get from Mace or Anakin that negative vibe, right? We don't get no, he's clearly a bad guy or he's got a bad plan. Anakin trusts him, right? Mace seems indifferent. Like Mace doesn't seem to care. He's just like, let's get it done, right? All business. But like I gotta say, like the others didn't trust him, which makes me wonder, like, are we going to see a backstory for the Bad Batch? Are we going to see some of these other missions that they've gone on?
Maybe on a spin-off.
A spin-off, yeah. A spin-off would work.
I
think a spin-off would definitely work.
I'm thinking that we'll actually see it in a comic form. I don't
Oh,
think
God, I hope not.
I don't think we'll see a full-on book. I think we'll see this in the comic. But there's a lot of great comics out there, a lot of good ones that have come out and have helped to tell the story. I just don't see. I don't know. I don't see this as a full-on show unto itself. It could be. It could easily be. I just don't see it happening. Yeah. So, but they're untrusting of Echo. They're like, yeah, I don't know, buddy. I don't really trust you, right? And so, I gotta say, the one big takeaway from this is my love for Wrecker has deepened. And I appreciate him continually more, like with every passing episode. Like he's just such a fun character, right? I mean, I'm not wrong there. You guys, you're with me, right?
Wrecker's all right.
What?
I enjoy Wrecker.
I love Wrecker. I love Wrecker. So, okay, so the plane goes off with it starts off without a hitch. They fly up to the capital ship. You know, they tease the droids, or they trick the droids into believing that it's a droid ship. Now I gotta ask though, did that shuttle look like the Emperor's shuttle to you guys?
Yeah, it was a Lambda shuttle.
Okay.
That, of course, the Imperials, which in this case, before they became the Galactic Empire, they're using the same ships. I mean, clones were stormtroopers.
Yeah, and like I like that. I was like, all right, cool, that's neat. They trick the guys. They get in. I gotta say, one of the highlights of the episode, hands down, the coolest moment, and part of the reason why I use this as the thumbnail for this video, Mace Windu dropping in and giving a speech to the battle droids. Like, I mean, I love Mace. Mace is a great character. Samuel Jackson.
No, that wasn't Mace Windu. That was Samuel L. Jackson. That was Dave Filoni going, not. What would Mace say? You know what? No, I'm not going to do what would Mace say. I'm going to do what would Samuel L. Jackson say.
Exactly.
Without the MFs in there all the time, you know? So,
well, they could just go over to Picard if they want profanity.
Yeah.
I love that. He's like, I've killed hundreds of thousands of you. And like, it's just me alone. Me. Mace Windu has killed all of these people, right? And he's like, I'm giving you a chance.
Say Roger, Roger again.
Roger.
Say Roger, Roger again. One more time.
And, and of course, I loved it. There was a moment of like, it was almost an awkward pause. Had there been a moment longer, it would have been an awkward pause. But the battle droid's like, shoot him!
Like, blast him!
Blast him! Blast him! I can't do a battle droid voice.
Blast him!
Blast him!
Roger.
Bitty, bitty, bitty.
I thought that was hilarious. And then Kenobi's response is, well, it's worth a shot. And very nonchalant, right? So they go about their business. Was there anything about Trench that kind of threw you off in this? What, like, Trench is and I say that because as I watch this, I've seen it 3 times now. I watched it twice the day of, and then once this morning. Trench would not rely solely on like the battle meditation or the battle algorithm. Yeah. I don't think he would do that. Right. And so like that kind of threw me off. Right. He's like, well, let's. Well,
no, he would, because he's a tactician. He's a general who uses tactics in order to, gain the upper hand and, ensue a victory. Yeah. And the algorithm up to that point had been 100% successful. So why would a good general not continue to use an algorithm they assumed was being 100% accurate? It was only this time where it wasn't going to work, but he wasn't to know that, which is why he used it and then switched off the algorithm when he realized it had been compromised.
And I guess that's a valid point. Like, I don't know. Like, it was reassuring to me that he's like, all right, let's do something else. Like, I just, Trench is such this, he's such a wonderful tactician. He's like,
you and I know him as a wonderful tactician, Thad, but honestly, when it comes down to it, the people that have been watching just Clone Wars for Trench, they don't know him that well.
I guess that's valid. Like, it bugged me because I was like, wait a second. There's more to Trench than this. And then, then he does his thing and whatever. But
the whole story of how he becomes half robot is also great.
That is also great. I freaking love that. Echo's got this plan. He sends everyone to the center, and he's like, all right, all droids converge, right? Again, this gives the Havoc team pause. They're like, all right, dude, what are you doing? And there's, again, that moment of, do we trust him, right? And I got to say that one of the things that has always bugged me is just tell people your plans. Like, you don't have to keep it a secret. You traveled all the way from the military base on this planet, Anaxis, to the capital ship, and along that whole time, you couldn't say, this is what I'm doing. I
don't think he knew what he was doing until he was plugged in. I mean, the plan to fry all of the droids was based on him reacting to Trench going off the algorithm and switching back to his tactics from in his head. And the tactics in his head said, right, okay, that's it. I'm just going to reinforce everybody there. Because obviously originally all the droids went there, and then Trench gave the order to send more droids, which was off the algorithm. So Echo's like, oh, hang on a minute, I've just received, I know what he's doing, and what all of the droids are now going to get, come to your location, but I'm going to do something to them. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, he didn't tell them that he was going to fry them. He just said that, I'm monitoring all of the droids going to your location. And then he told them what he planned to do immediately after doing it, if you catch my drift.
Yeah. And so, the message is relayed, and finally Anakin is not the one to come up with a crazy A plan and deliver them. It's not like, hey, I'm going to attack this ship with a much, much smaller ship, and eventually I'll defeat it. I'm not going to do this crazy freaking thing and just know that the Force is going to take care of me, right? And I love the reaction, the facial expressions from Kenobi when he's like relaying the message, when he and Mace are talking back and forth, and Mace is like, so more people are coming. And, it's like, oh, that's all part of the plan. And he's like, no. It's not Anakin's plan. I think that the fact that he said that it's not Anakin's plan was something that reassured Kenobi. Like, oh, well, someone else came up with it. It's probably going to work better.
No. He said, if I know Anakin, we're getting the easier part of his plan.
True, but again, it's probably going to work better, right? Okay. Now,
Anakin did have a crazy plan after Echo shocked everybody.
Yes.
Because Trench then sends the feedback loop right back at Echo.
Yep.
And that was mid disarming of a bomb.
Oh,
didn't get the last digit. James Bond. That was so James Bond.
That was. I love that part. And so here's the thing. And this is, I think, where we should spend the rest of the next 2 hours talking about. Anakin bum rushes the capital or the bridge, right? And what happens? There's an awesome. It's just like, oh, I'm not. There's this back and forth. Someone else talk, because this was just an awesome moment that I don't have words for.
Trench all of a sudden says, "You know what? You're a Jedi. You're not going to do anything to me. You know, you guys have a code to follow." And we get dark side Anakin, who killed them all, every single one of them.
No,
but the women and the children too.
This is after that. Yes, this is after that, Neff. This is
no. Right, look. After Trench delivers that line to Anakin hesitates, thinking, "Well, yeah, of course I'm not going to do anything." And in that moment of hesitation, Trench tries to electrocute him.
No.
And Anakin retaliates by, he kills him. He defends himself because Trench is trying to electrocute him.
You're right.
That wasn't dark side. That was just him defending himself.
No. I'm talking about when he cuts off his arms.
Yeah. So he cuts off his arms first to get the number out of him, right? To get that number 5, I believe it was. And
7.
7, yes.
He cuts off his prosthetic arms.
Yeah.
They're not part of his, but it's not like he's cutting off his real arms. He's cutting off robot arms that he knows Trench can repair. Because he's not thinking
twice.
In that moment, he's not thinking he's going to kill Trench. He's thinking, I'm just going to do what is necessary in order to get the information.
But
and
he's willing
off a couple of metal arms, really? I mean, come on, that's hardly dark.
I agree. That's not necessarily the dark part here. And yes, you're right that he does only kill Trench after he
tries to electrocute him.
No, and not tries, he does. Like it's a retaliatory thing. But here's the thing though. His response, the words that he used, I am not held by such something, right? It's a powerful moment where
I'm bringing it up right now so I can have the exact thing. Trench shoots the net at Anakin, and then he says, "Tell me the sequence to disarm the bomb." Trench says, "Never. Dooku would kill me for losing an axis."
Yeah.
I can do still images on your channel, right? I just can't do moving images,
yeah,
right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So right here, that doesn't look like a happy Anakin.
That's not a happy Anakin. No.
And it says, "And you think I won't?"
Yeah. Yeah. He is willing to kill him. Anakin's response to the shocking could have simply been to disarm Trench.
Yeah, and then Trench says after, "And you think that I won't?" Never. Dooku would kill me for losing an axis. And you think I won't? Trench replies, "You're a Jedi. Your nobility." And just as he's saying nobility, he cuts off his arms.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once again, this does not look like happy Anakin.
No, that is I killed them all. That is Master Anakin, what do we do?
That was before, of course.
No, I get it, but like that's the same mentality that he went into it. You better believe that if he killed Trench like this, there was definitely a youngling that went down like that. I mean, I gotta say, this moment, we've seen it building. Like we know, I mean, we know what to expect because we've seen the movies, obviously. But like, you have the moment with Padme, right? The fact that he wants to get back to her, right? He's like, I want to get back, and she's like, "What did you think? A siege would be a couple of days, right?" And that was what, the second episode, and and it's that cool moment where it's like you see she's pregnant, she's clearly expecting, and he goes through all this stuff, and then, oh my gosh, I rewound that part a few times, and if I could take screenshots of this scene, I absolutely would, because it was powerful.
I think I'm just gonna leave this up for the rest of the rest of the episode.
It's like those eyes, man, those eyes, and like he stabs him and then nonchalantly walks around. Like he doesn't just like, oh, I got to get off the bridge, or oh, I've got to do this. Like he's just like hanging out on the bridge as Trench is dying. That's there's just something to that in my mind. A darkness, a void of personality. I mean, other Jedi, I think, would probably have tried to save him, or maybe not. I don't know. But this is definitely a dark moment. You're right, Nev. I 100% agree with you. He was.
I think there were perfectly legitimate reasons for every single one of his actions, and that it wasn't. I didn't. I mean, the facial expression. He's made angry facial expressions in previous seasons.
True.
His actions didn't speak to me in, my actions are, of the dark side. I just didn't see that from his actions. Obviously we're going to see that later on in the season. I don't see this as one of those moments.
Yeah. And I
think that moment will come later. I think when he will, and let's not forget, he delivered the James Bond line afterwards, after running him through, walking away. I mean, we didn't see that against Dooku, did we? When he chopped his head off, and Obi-Wan turns up, it's like, oh, he's lost his head. It's not like that Bon Appetit moment from Dr. No or anything like that, is it?
No, I loved it. Like this scene made this episode for me. There were a few really good scenes in it, but this was the one that as I watched, I was like, dang, that is awesome. It was so cool to see just that response. I loved it. Before he leaves the throne room, he gets the self-destruct button. The button, the little trigger, right? The plunger, whatever.
Dead man's stick.
The dead man's stick, right? He's gonna take a treat back for Wrecker, which we could all appreciate. And that was another awesome moment. But Wrecker and crew are trying to escape, right? They're trying to make their way off the ship. This was another one of my fun moments. I loved the joy in Wrecker's face when he just puts his helmet down, goes at it, and just bum rushes the guys. That is such a cool moment. And then,
and then the droid at the very end just
not the face. And then Hunter leaning down to Rex, and he's like, honestly, I feel bad for the droids. like it was a perfectly timed comedic moment, and Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni does an amazing job with this show, and it balances the light and the dark very well. Now, granted, the droids are being murdered here, or disassembled, or whatever you'd call it, but like they're going out. But I loved that moment where he's just so happy to punch droids to death. I freaking loved it. I thought it was great. And then let's the reflector.
That Deadshot was using.
So cool. I don't know if it was you guys that were talking on your podcast, or I heard somewhere this weekend that if we ever get Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, if we get the Bad Batch 4 stars guy Sleep Heroes, Deadshot needs to have this ability where he
with an AoE.
With an AoE. That would just be
laser.
Awesome. That would be awesome.
Lasers.
And like again, if we're gonna jump onto that for a second, here's what I think. Every time Deadshot kills someone with that ability, like Wrecker gets like angrier and his offense goes up and he he charges or
top
something.
That.
Yeah, top that kind of a thing. I think that would be awesome. Oh, that would be so
Wrecker's AoE would be quite good.
Oh, it better. And I mean, we don't know when the devs will get back in studio. 2 weeks, 4 weeks. We'll see him in August. We don't know.
So we'll get back to them in Swaga in a second.
Yeah.
Deadshot does it one time,
Mm-hmm.
and then he stays behind and he catches up after blanketing the entire 4 or 5 hallways with these reflectors.
Yep.
And just as about the fit is about to hit the Shan.
Yep.
It triangle pattern all the way down.
Oh my gosh. Oh. It just devastates Wrecker. It's like the hardest. He's like, how could you do that? Like, what? Oh, that's.
And I loved the fact he did it over the arm.
So good. Like, yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my
So
gosh.
Pistols at dawn.
Seriously. Oh, I freaking loved it. So,
But by the way, I just want to point out that Neil's pom pom Thrawn under the black light looks like a Cheshire cat.
It does. I didn't know what that was. Is that Thrawn?
That's his pom pom Thrawn.
All right. It does look like the Cheshire cat. It absolutely looks like the Cheshire cat. But so
we're gonna get that. We're gonna fix that for you, Neil. We're gonna get that mic fixed for you.
Yep.
By the way, thank
Okay,
you to
I see
all
it.
that donated this last Escape Pod cast. We are getting Neil a new mic. I'm trying to decide if I want to send him a mountable mic or a corner mountable mic. So,
But since Paul is the audio guy, I'm going to defer to his better judgment.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably good. So they escape, and this becomes one of the most joyous moments in the episode. Anakin gives Wrecker his present, and his present is the Dead Man Switch. And Wrecker's response is, "This is the happiest day of my life."
I'm gonna see if I can find that image.
Oh, and like the joy he has there, it's just so.
I gotta bring it down since I'm doing video.
Oh, it's just so good because it's like, dude. Oh, it's like you see the happiness in his soul as he blows up, and it like 3, not just 1, but 3 Star Destroyers. Like it's awesome. Oh, that was such a good moment. We move on. Windu's like, hey, everyone gets awards. Here's an award for you.
You get an award. You get an award.
You get
an award.
And then, the guys are like, look, that's not really our scene, right? And then there's that cool moment, right? Where,
by the way, here's the arm
over the shoulder shot.
Yeah, there's the over the shoulder shot. But let me see if I can find Wrecker real quick.
The dreadnoughts, yes. Junior Darth, thanks, boss. It was he blows up those dreadnoughts and is just so happy about it. He's like, I loved it. But you've got this moment between Echo and the squad and then Rex, and they're like, look, that's not us. That's not what we do. And
there you go.
There you go. I'm just so happy.
This is the happiest day of my life.
It's the happiest day of my life. I've got it was such a touching moment where they're like, look, you know, we're special, you're special. If you want to join us, you know. And Echo, he debates it for a second, and then he goes and talks to Rex. I really like the way that this ended. They don't leave Echo lying around. It's still tying up a loose end, you know, as far as the storyline goes. You've got Echo going off with Havoc Squad. And
Yep.
And that was such a perfect way, and I say this knocking on wood, to end the story arc.
I think they've concluded the story arc now. They've concluded the and tied off the Echo loose end.
Now, as far as canon goes, clearly he's still out there, right? And there's going to be a bigger question: is what happens to the Havoc Squad? Are these members of does the Havoc Squad does Havoc Squad, not Havoc Squad, Bad Batch? Thank you. Havoc Squad. Something.
I was wondering it.
Havoc Squad
is your channel. I'm not supposed to disagree with you on your channel.
No, feel free. Havoc Squad is the clones, or not the clones, the Republic, the old Republic troopers in Star Wars. Oh, the MMO. I always get them and Inferno Squad and
Galaxies.
Bad Batch. Galaxies. Not Galaxies.
Old Republic?
Old Republic, yes.
Okay.
They're the ones in the Old Republic. So but they go off, right? Do they have the chip in their head? Are they going to be activated by Order 66?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think they'll be Order 66. Order 66 in anyone.
Yeah. I mean, they clearly don't work with Jedi very often. They clearly work with, you know, a higher power.
They don't work with regs.
They don't work with regs. Here's what I hope, okay? And this is what I want to see with the Bad Batch. I want to see the Bad Batch and Admiral Yularen be some kind tied together somehow. Yularen plays a major role in the new Thrawn books.
Yeah.
We know that he joins the SB.
ISB.
Yeah, the ISB, thank you.
Imperial Security Bureau.
And so I could absolutely see Yularen using the ISB and using the Bad Batch, right? Who weren't activated by Order 66. Vader has his Inquisitors, right? I don't think that he's going to use the Inquisitors for that. It doesn't make sense. Or not the Inquisitors. I don't think he'll use the Bad Batch, you know, to
right.
I think that he'll just jump into the Inquisitors, to be honest. But
well, we know about the Inquisitors and where they came from in the original Darth Vader comic. They were fallen Jedi that instantly switched during Order 66.
Yep. And I would love to see that. And again, here's the thing. They're moving directions, right? They're focusing on this new balls, what's it called? Start the P. Project Luminous, right? And it's going through and it's going to talk about the High Republic. I still hope that they do one-offs, books and comics and even maybe a movie, like an animated movie, where it focuses on some of these storylines. And this is one that I would love to see. I would love to see the Bad Batch as Imperials. I would love to see how they play out. I'm not 100% sure.
I need a prop. I need a prop for the next thing.
All right.
You just mentioned the high council thingy, right?
Real quick before we go, Barriss Offee is not officially a member of the Inquisitorial Squad. We don't know yet that she was. We do know that she was, a traitor, but she was also in episode 3, fighting along the Jedi after the events of her betrayal. So her character is still up in the air, I think. But what are you going to show us, Nev?
This is Star Wars fiction from the New Jedi Order, a series of 19 books that produced some absolutely outstanding stories over a series of 19 books.
I am very glad that you told us that it's Star Wars fiction and not Star Wars nonfiction, because that was
I said Star Wars fan fiction.
Oh, okay.
I didn't hear fan. I just heard fiction.
I didn't hear fan either.
Star Wars fan fiction.
Okay.
Now, in order to achieve this wonderful series of 19 books, you didn't need to sit a bunch of people down in an office with whiteboards and computers and write how they were going to plan it out. You just hired good story writers to write a book, and then one would collaborate with another, and they'd talk to each other and they'd chat and, oh, I'm writing a book. I need a little bit of background on this. That's how you do it. You don't plan. Yeah, it's not going to work.
All right. So I agree. I respectfully disagree. I would love the opportunity. Like imagine, Nev, you and me and Paul, they bring us in. They're like, all right, you're all going to tell a story. Any story you want, but it's got to take place in this period of time. You can do whatever you want, but it's got to be in this period of time. I think that is an awesome, like any writer would jump at that. I mean, any fan of the universe would jump at that. I mean,
can I have Ezra get eaten by the Purgle and Thrawn survive?
That's still a possibility. We don't know. We don't. I'm betting he didn't. It's possible.
Hey, a boy could dream.
A boy could dream. Yes. But like as far as like the opportunity for a writer to collaborate, and I assume that you guys have all been in like a D&D type situation where you've had a group storytelling moment, right? It's a powerful thing to be able to sit together with other like-minded people, creative people, and just say, this is the story that we want to tell. Now, I will agree with you. At moments like that, there's a great opportunity for agenda to be inputted into this, right? For them to say, we're not going to tell a Star Wars story. We're going to tell this type of story set in a Star Wars universe. Now, that is dangerous, and that is a worry that I have. Because Star Wars needs to have its own political, social, economic problems that may have a tie to things that have happened or happening, but it should not try to push a propaganda outside of its own. And that is an absolute worry that I do have. In a situation like that, I think it's easy to say, hey, we're going to do this storytelling. And that again, is a concern. But I'm excited for it. I don't think that it's going to fall flat. And I very much look forward to it. And keeping in mind that you've got Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, and now Kevin Feige, however you say his name, as major creators. Feige's coming in, but those other two are major names in this. And I think that they're going to have a pretty big sway, a pretty big pull on where that goes. Right? That's my thought, and maybe just hope. Right?
Well, Junior Darth Run DMV is asking how we think that Maul and Ahsoka are going to come into this season of Clone Wars. I think that's the next episode.
Lady Tano. I don't. I disagree.
You think it's going to be safe for the last arc of the last bit?
No, I think what we're seeing here is we start with clones and you get Anakin. You start to see Anakin's fall, right? The next story arc is going to be solely focused on Ahsoka outside of the Jedi Order. And I think we'll see if this one was 4 episodes. I think the next one's going to be 4 episodes, and I think the next one's going to be 4 episodes. We'll see Ahsoka after she's been living on Coruscant. This is Ahsoka on Coruscant trying to be not Ahsoka the Jedi, not Padawan Tano, but Ahsoka, the person. And
Fulcrum.
No.
I know. I was being tongue in cheek there.
Yes. But this is her fulcrum moment. This is where she's going to start to decide whether she's really done with the Jedi or whether she's really done with the Clone Wars. Nev, I have to ask before I ask Paul to hold up the propaganda duck, spoiler duck. Have you seen the trailers?
No.
You haven't
I
seen...
always stop at the end, so I don't know what's happening.
No. Have you seen the trailers for the season?
Yes.
Okay.
So no duck.
So no duck. We don't need the duck. If you've seen the trailers for the season, you've seen Ahsoka throughout the trailer, right?
Yeah. I've seen Ahsoka in the trailer.
So if you were
I've seen I know that there's going to be a duel between her and Maul, and looking forward to it.
Not just that though. There is a scene, and I want to say that it. Now that I'm thinking about it, there's an image in one of the trailers where Ahsoka is facing off against someone with 2 red lightsabers. Now, I don't rightly know if it's in the trailer. I'm going to have to go back and watch, because now that I'm thinking about it, Ventress, her story may have been wrapped up by this point. I'm not entirely sure, because if you have watched or if you read the, let me check over here. It is, where are you? Book. Dark Disciple. If you read Dark Disciple, and it's an amazing book, then her story is wrapped up in Dark Disciple, and it does take place before the launch of Order 66. But this is one of those stories that was meant to be a story arc that just never made it. It is possible that Asajj and Ahsoka run in down here, have a run in the lower levels of Coruscant. So that's what I'm thinking. I think we're going to see a four-part story arc featuring Ahsoka. And then something will happen in that period. And then it'll be another 4-part story arc that'll bring Ahsoka and Kenobi and Anakin all back together for the Battle of Mandalore. I don't think that we'll see that fight between Maul and Ahsoka for some time.
But can we agree that the final scene of the final episode is going to set up the beginning of episode 3?
Oh, absolutely.
I would hope so.
It has to. If they don't, and they say, "Oh, find out in this book or comic," I will lose all faith, faith in Filoni.
Wait, hold on. So say that again, or say that again.
I want the last scene of this season to tie off and lead directly into, just like they did at the end of Rogue One, tying it off nicely and leading it into episode 4. I would like to see that with this animated series. I would like to see them end season 7 and tie it off with as small a gap between the end of season 7 and the beginning of episode 3 as possible. I don't want there to be a big gap and then Disney try and make money from it by writing books and comics and saying, if you want to find out what happened between the end of Clones season 7 and the beginning of episode 3, buy our stuff.
Okay, but I wouldn't mind that as much, Neil, because, and I got to pop on the thing here. I wouldn't mind that as much because I'm really enjoying the whole story between 5 and 6 that they're telling in the comics.
Yeah. So here's the thing, though. It's not when does Padme tell Anakin that she's pregnant? Isn't it at the beginning of episode 3?
No, they already knew.
They got married at the end of episode 2, didn't they?
Yeah.
So she couldn't have been pregnant at the end of episode.
She was fully pregnant at the beginning of episode 3. She was way into the pregnancy. Yeah, she was. You could tell she was showing.
She was showing at the
she
end.
was showing in episode 2 of the Clone Wars.
She was showing it in episode 3. She wasn't showing it in Attack of the Clones.
No.
She was showing it in episode 3.
Yeah, I was
in
gonna
what
say,
we've been watching.
I was gonna say Attack of the Clones. She's got that belly midriff. There's no way she's showing. Like she shows up to Anakin, opening scene, and is like, "I've got great news. I'm pregnant." Right? So,
Junior Darth is saying, how does he not see it in the holoprojector in episode 2 of season 7?
Yeah, episode 2 of season 7. She's pregnant. She is with child, my friend. So I don't think it's going to lead directly into that. What I'm hoping is that it leads into a final scene before episode 3. Does that make sense? So it's not that it leads directly into the moment.
You want a crossover between season 7 of the Clone Wars and episode 3.
We have it.
Leading from one to the other. You want a full crossover.
We have it.
We kind of do have it with episode 2.
Yeah.
So these things are happening during 3 off camera while the Senate is doing, their galactic debates.
Yeah.
Well, if that's what you if that's the case, if that's what you think, then the only conclusion to that would be the last couple of episodes are going to directly cross into scenes or scenes that could have happened in episode 3 on different worlds.
Yeah, I think that's what will happen. I think the battle,
including Order 66.
I don't think that we'll get Order 66.
You don't think we'll get Order 66 in the animated series? No, you don't think they'll go that far into episode 3?
I mean, they just put a lightsaber through Trench. I think they will.
I think they could. I'm not seeing it as I think they could. What I think that they will do is that they will find something out about the Sith. I think Maul will give information that will lead to this, right? That will lead to them thinking, oh, we know who it is, right? Because again, in one of those commercials, one of those trailers, not as this is what's happening next episode, but like one of the trailers.
I couldn't find Ahsoka with two red lightsabers. The only thing in the trailer was Ahsoka and Maul standing across from each other. Ahsoka lighting her lightsabers and Maul lighting up his duel.
Okay, and I'm thinking that the image that I saw was probably from a previous season of Clone Wars. When I was looking it up, I was just there. It was something, and now that I'm looking back, I'm thinking, I know that it was Asajj, but I think it was when she was trying to flee the Jedi after she left. If that makes sense. When she was running from the Jedi, she was underground. I think she ran into Asajj. That's what I think I'm seeing in that episode. But where was I going with that? So this is what I'm thinking. Maul is going to let it slip that Sidious is his master, but he won't say who Sidious is. right? And so I think that there's something there. I don't know. And I do think it will tie in to episode 3. I just don't think it's going to tie in directly. Like, not at the beginning. It's not going to be as clean cut as Rogue One to episode 4 was. That's just all I'm saying.
Okay.
So we are getting up on we're at 50 minutes so
Holy
far
crap.
of this show.
Holy crap!
So really quick, let's touch on Swaga use. Certainly, Hunter would be their leader.
Oh yeah.
You would not put a leadership on
Any of the others.
on any of the others, or you would not add a leadership to Echo. On top of that, swinging it around, you would have to find a new 501st clone for the gas team, because you're not going to put Shakti in there.
No, they'll just create 5 Bad Batch. They'll create Echo as he is.
Yeah,
I create a new Echo.
Yeah, they'll do a new Echo. They'll do a Bad Batch
Robo Echo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They have come out and said they are not changing his tag for the Clone Wars or for this game. So they're not going to do they're not going to update this Echo that we have in the game to be the Echo in these episodes. We'll get a new one if we get an Echo at all. I would be surprised if they just didn't give us 5. I could see, what are there, 4 Bad Batch members?
4 Bad Batch members plus Echo
Plus
makes
Echo.
5.
Plus Echoes makes 5. I could see there being one other person coming in to the Bad Batch that we haven't seen so far. Or
Look,
Cody.
There are at least 10. There are at least 10 marquee characters that they could bring into this game right now that the community would absolutely love. If they could bring in the Bad Batch, and they could bring 5 people in from the Mandalorian.
And Hondo.
Bring in 5
Hondo.
They could bring in 5 marquees, and then they could give us 2 legendaries. I think that they should give us the 5 Mandalorians, and then make the Mandalorian a legendary that requires those 5 marquees. They should bring in 5 Bad Batch, and then they should bring in Hondo as a legendary, requiring 2 or 3 characters from Ezra and Kanan, and then 3 Galactic Republic. I would say Anakin, Yoda, and GK. And those 5 characters get you a Hondo.
I would love to see Hondo as a legendary character. Would love it. I'm not holding my breath. Not as a legendary. I could see a marquee. I could see a number of other things, but not as a legendary. I think that's asking too much.
All right. How many clone helmets out of 5? Who do you want to start with, Thad? This is your show.
Nev, let's do it. Give us a thought. Give us your thoughts. 5 out of 5. Paul?
5 out of 5.
And I'm right there with you. I think this was an amazing, amazing episode. And if this
Brilliant conclusion. Excellent conclusion.
Yeah.
I felt good at the end of this conclusion.
I 100% agree. I think this finishes up the arc very well, and it was just, everything was wrapped in a nice little bun. It had a good mix of light and dark. That's what I'm thinking, guys. I think this was a 5, so that gives us a 5 rating.
We could tell English is your strong suit there.
Yes,
that you had to calculate.
I had to. The gears were turning. But with that, what do you guys have going on this week? Let us know. What are you thinking, Paul, Nev? What you got?
Well, on the Escape podcast, we are not giving away who our guests are. This week, our incoming transmission is a very special guest that's going to make you rethink the way that you play the game and more embrace how you play the game in your own way. That's the only hint that I'm really giving it. That's the only hint.
Okay.
And then there's people that are cooped up and getting cabin fever. You know, if something were to happen and there were somebody has a few too many Corellians and crashes into our ship, we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I'm planning on trawling the internet this week for toilet paper memes so that we can all have a laugh and enjoy a bit of brevity on Friday.
All right.
Yeah.
So send all of your toilet paper memes to the Nev.
Yeah, only toilet paper memes, not a joke on the coronavirus itself, because it is
no coronavirus. It's toilet paper memes. We all understand what the toilet roll thing is. It's toilet paper, toilet roll memes. Right. So like the one that I made the other day, which is just a photograph of an empty toilet roll, and on said toilet roll, it says, "Sucks to be you right now."
So when that toilet roll is full, over to the front or over to the back?
Always from the top going down at the front. Always.
I don't have a preference.
Nev is right. Top going down to the front.
Even though I can't calculate math, I do feel like I'm capable of figuring out the mechanics of toilet paper as I'm sitting on the crapper. Not always, I'm sure of it.
But if it's to the back, you're going to get all that unused toilet paper all messy if you're reaching underneath to grab it, because the whole toilet paper...
It's got to be at the top.
Exactly.
At the top.
How is it getting messy?
You're going to pull off more off the roll than you need, and then you're going to have to roll it back on manually.
Exactly.
I feel like I need to watch
you've been in a situation where it's been a very bad accident.
Don't worry,
I'm talking about extreme accidents.
Don't worry, I've seen it as a meme. It's 2 photographs of toilet rolls, one the way that Paul and me do it, with the word correct and a tick underneath it, and then the picture immediately next to it is the other way with wrong and a cross underneath it. Don't worry.
All right. Well, I look forward to this week's episode where I am taught the proper ways of toilet paper maintenance via meme. With that, Nev and then Paul, will you guys sign us out?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm the one that says, ta-ta, everybody.
It is true. Nev's the one. So be nice to each other, damn it. Wash your damn hands.
Seriously.
And
smile.
Everyone, remember to smile.
And stay nerdy.